So this dog owns more real estate than most millionaires. Gunther is a German Shepherd who just purchased Madonna's Miami mansion, and the craziest part, he reportedly demanded to sleep in the material girl's former master bedroom. Now Gunther is this mega rich German Shepherd living in Miami, and bro is absolutely loaded. We're talking about a dog with a trust fund worth over $400 million. He's got his own personal chef cooking him prime rib and caviar for breakfast. He flies around on private jets and owns multiple mansions. This dog literally eats better than most humans and lives like absolute royalty. So how did a German Shepherd become richer than most CEOs? Well, it all starts back in 1992 with this German Countess named Carlotta Liebenstein. Now, Carlotta was this wealthy aristocrat who tragically lost her son, and she was absolutely devastated. When she died that same year, she left her entire $80 million fortune to the one thing that brought her comfort, her beloved German Shepherd, Gunther III. But here's where it gets really smart, because Carlotta wasn't just thinking about one dog. Oh no, this countess set up the most elaborate inheritance system ever created. The will specifically states that when Gunther III dies, his fortune goes to his offspring, and when that dog dies, it goes to the next generation, and so on. We're talking about a perpetual dynasty of millionaire German Shepherds. And boom, just like that, Gunther becomes the world's richest dog with a guaranteed bloodline of wealthy heirs. But here's where it gets crazy, because this isn't just some dog sitting on a pile of money. Oh no, Gunther starts living it up. His caretakers set up this whole trust fund, and they're buying insane stuff in his name. Yachts, sports cars, designer dog beds that cost more than most people's cars. Now here's the thing about this inheritance system. It's basically a canine royal family. When Gunther III eventually passes away, they've already got Gunther IV ready to take over the empire. And when Gunther IV gets old, boom, here comes Gunther V. It's like they're breeding these dogs specifically to be millionaires. Each new Gunther inherits not just the money, but this entire lifestyle of luxury and excess. The caretakers treat this whole thing like a serious business operation. They've got breeding programs, they're documenting bloodlines, they're making sure there's always a backup heir ready to step into those diamond-studded paws. It's the most organized pet inheritance system in history. Fast forward to 1999, and Gunther IV, that's Gunther III's son, decides he wants to get into real estate. And not just any real estate, this dog tries to buy Sylvester Stallone's Miami mansion. The Miami Herald runs the story, and everyone's like, holy, a dog is trying to buy Rocky's house? Now, you'd think that would be the craziest part, but no, because the very next year in 2000, Gunther actually pulls off the ultimate power move. He buys Madonna's waterfront mansion in Miami for $7.5 million. And I'm not talking about his handlers buying it for him. No. Gunther literally shows up to the closing. There's photos of this German Shepherd sitting at a table with lawyers in suits, and he signs the paperwork with his paw. Like this dog is conducting serious business while probably thinking about chasing squirrels. But wait, it gets even more insane, because Gunther doesn't just buy the mansion. He completely takes over Madonna's lifestyle. The realtor says he lives in Madonna's former master bedroom, and they get him this custom Italian red velvet circular bed with a golden canopy. This dog is literally sleeping where the Queen of Pop used to sleep, living in luxury that would make most billionaires jealous. Oh, but it's not over, because Gunther starts building this whole entourage around himself. He hires this group of gorgeous young people called the Burgundians, who are basically his personal assistants and party crew. These people are living in his mansions, sailing on his yachts, and throwing these wild parties where Gunther just wanders around like he owns the place, which he does. And guess what happens next? Gunther decides to get cultured. In 2001, he goes to this fancy truffle auction in Italy and bids over $1 million for a rare white truffle. Picture this scene. There's a German Shepherd at an auction house surrounded by wealthy Europeans, and the Burgundians are bidding on his behalf for the most expensive mushroom in the world, and he wins. This dog just casually drops more money on a fungus than most people make in their entire lives. Here's the thing about Gunther though. He's not just spending money, he's investing it. The dog starts buying businesses, funding scientific research, even purchases an Italian soccer team. And when he buys that soccer team, he appoints 2 adult film actresses as the team presidents, because apparently this dog has very specific ideas about management. And that's when things really start to get weird, because Gunther's handlers claim he's conducting social experiments. They say the Countess wanted to study human happiness, so Gunther's funding this research where beautiful young people live together in luxury and basically do whatever they want. We're talking about orgies, wild parties, people sunbathing naked, all while Gunther trots around filming everything for science. For years, this keeps going. Gunther's living this insane billionaire lifestyle. making headlines around the world. The BBC is reporting on his real estate deals. People magazine is doing features on his lavish lifestyle. And the media just can't get enough of this story. I mean, who doesn't love hearing about a dog that inherited millions and is living better than 99% of humans? Gunther's got everything: mansions, jets, gourmet food, hot tubs, a whole crew of people whose job is basically to party with him. And the dog keeps making moves. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, the Gunther dynasty just keeps growing. When one Gunther gets too old to jet around the world, they seamlessly transition to the next heir. Gunther IV passes the torch to Gunther V, who eventually hands it off to Gunther VI. Each dog inherits not just the money, but this entire empire of businesses, real estate, and investments. The trust fund grows to over $400 million across multiple generations. Each new Gunther steps into this life of absolute luxury, like they were born for it, which technically they were. So by 2021, Gunther VI, we're now on the 6th generation of this Canine dynasty, decides it's time to sell Madonna's mansion. His people listed for $31.75 million, and the story goes absolutely viral. The Associated Press runs this huge feature about the world's wealthiest dog selling his estate.
The world's wealthiest dog, worth nearly $500 million, is about to get a little richer because this German Shepherd named Gunther VI just listed his home, the former home of pop star Madonna, for $31.7 million.
Everyone's sharing articles about this German Shepherd who's basically a furry real estate mogul. The realtor is giving interviews talking about how Gunther licked off my lipstick during their first meeting and how he sealed the deal with a slobbery kiss. The whole world is enchanted by this idea that a dog can be a legitimate businessman. Even Madonna posted a bummed out photo of her saying, "When you find out a dog is selling your house for 3 times the amount you sold it for." But here's the thing about fairy tales. They always end when you dig too deep. And in 2021, someone finally started digging. What they found would expose one of the most elaborate cons in history. A con so perfect it fooled the entire world for 30 years. A con that turned a simple German Shepherd into the front dog for one of the biggest financial frauds ever pulled off. See, when that Associated Press story about Gunther selling Madonna's mansion went viral, it caught the attention of some very curious journalists. And these weren't entertainment reporters looking for a cute dog story. These were investigative journalists who specialize in financial fraud. And they started asking questions that nobody had bothered to ask for 3 decades. Simple questions like, well, where are the legal documents for this inheritance? What's the name of the law firm that handled the Countess's will? Can we see a death certificate for Carlotta Liebenstein? And that's when everything started to unravel. Because here's what they discovered. There was no German Countess named Carlotta Liebenstein. She never existed. There was no tragic death in 1992. There was no $80 million inheritance. The entire foundation of this story was completely fabricated. But if there was no Countess, then who the hell had been funding this dog's billionaire lifestyle for 30 years? Meet Maurizio, a 65-year-old Italian pharmaceutical heir who had just pulled off the most audacious long-term con in modern history. This man looked the entire world in the eye and said, "My dog inherited millions from a dead German lady," and we all just believed him. The craziest part? When Netflix confronted him about it in 2023, Maurizio just sat there grinning like a Bond villain. He wasn't embarrassed. He wasn't apologetic. He was proud. This man had convinced the BBC, the Associated Press, and the entire internet that his German Shepherd was richer than most countries. And here's the final twist. He basically got away with it. After pulling off one of the most elaborate financial frauds in history, disguised as the world's most heartwarming pet story, Maurizio is chilling in his Italian villa, probably planning his next con. Because at the end of the day, he didn't just fool the media, he didn't just fool the government, he fooled all of us. And somewhere in Italy, there's a German Shepherd who has no idea he just became the furriest con artist in history. That is wild. And speaking of wild cons, you should check out the story of how McDonald's monopoly was rigged for over a decade.